let me take you into the crazy world of my reptiles, birds, amphibians, mollusks, fish, mammals, and of course the depths of my own mind. This is Lindsay's Animal School. I am a girl who talks to the animals. I bring them breakfast and I pick up all their poo. If you'll please subscribe, I'll take you for a ride in my animal school.
And welcome to Animal School. This week we're going to be looking at llamas.
We're also going to be learning how our ancestors survived during the Second World War. There's some work to be done in the allotment, and I'll teach you how to draw a llama with the help of a llama. I was also asked who Magnus was, which of course I haven't done an episode on him yet. But Magnus is my rescued magpie. Magnus is almost completely blind, so relies on me to provide him his food and enrichment. I have two rescue llamas called Lizzie and Marie. Marie is a bit of a bully, but Lizzie is definitely the more friendly and has learnt to take food from my hand. Despite them not getting on, they seem happy having each other's company, even though they fight and spit at each other for food. So llamas are traditionally used as load-bearing animals, and they carry packs on their back. Although unlike a horse, which is normally pretty compliant, if a llama doesn't want to do something, it will just lie on the ground and refuse to move. Llamas are famous for spitting. Luckily, they tend to only spit if they're very, very tame and see the human they live with as another llama. If they see you as a human, they're a little bit more reserved and don't tend to spit at you. Animals like llamas and cows have to regurgitate their food in order to digest it properly. A couple of weeks ago we learnt how rabbits eat their own poo to cope with the problem of grass being indigestible. But llamas, they don't eat their own poo, but they do regurgitate or sick the grass back into their mouth, re-eat it, swallow it again, so that's how they digest it. This is known as chewing the cud. Chewing the cud is what cows and llamas and sheep do in order to cope with the problem of digesting grass. Llamas come from the camelid family, which means that they are related to camels. They love dusty environments and will often roll on the ground to get rid of parasites. They are herbivores with flat teeth for eating grass.
This llama is not dead. She is simply sunbathing. Llamas go all out for sunbathing when it's lovely weather, and often lie like this, or sometimes with their legs in the air. Llamas are mammals, and mammals are not as clever as birds because birds are without a doubt the smartest and most intelligent. All right, Banjo, shh. But I'm much more intelligent than a llama. In fact, I am a superstar, and
So I was brought up to date on the adventures of Freddie and Izzy's tadpoles and their release. That's awesome. And I asked you to share what wildlife came to your garden. I received some interesting photographs from Adele, who last year found a hedgehog and released it in her garden. And also a newt that she found in her pond. Algebetta sent me photographs of the fox that comes into her house and Cyril the seagull and his mate. We appeared in the paper. Page 5, okay. Okay, so there appears to be an article on dog poo. And, oh, yes, quite right, here we are. Tiny little piece next to the poo. What do you reckon, huh? What do you reckon? Animal School on video. You're not going to be happy because they've cut you out of it. Now that's better. And look who's centre stage. It's been 17 days since we started incubating our turkey eggs. This means that myself and Tam have been turning them 5 times a day. We candled the eggs, which shows us if there were living chicks inside. Sadly, 2 of the eggs did not have any living chicks inside, so those were taken out. But it looks like we have 4 healthy growing eggs. Hopefully, we will have them hatch in a further 11 days. Fingers crossed that they hatch. In anticipation for more turkeys, my housemate Ben has been building a turkey house with a little help from the cat. What you building, Ben? Is the cat helping? I think it's safe to say that the cat is providing more of a hindrance and possibly a distraction for Ben. But we all love Kamos. I hope everybody enjoyed celebrating VE Day, and it got me thinking to the lengths that people went to during the Second World War in order to grow food. My grandparents told me about rationing and how the whole country pulled together to feed the nation. During this lockdown, we've all experienced probably a lack of food, or of, at least of our favourite foods, which have been missing from the supermarkets. But during the last World War, food went so scarce that we had to introduce rationing. Food had to be rationed to make sure that there was enough for everybody. Butter, sugar, cheese, flour was all rationed, and you could only have a very small amount of it each week. The Dig for Victory campaign started in October 1939, and it called for every man and woman to keep an allotment. Flower beds and lawns were dug up and turned into ways of keeping food, and people were asked to keep chickens, goats and sheep to feed everybody in the country. Chickens in particular were commonly kept because they produced meat and eggs. You were only allowed to have 1 egg a week. So you can see the benefits of keeping your own chickens. Or poaching your neighbours. Although that wouldn't earn you many friends. Taking more than your fair share of food was very much frowned upon. And socially, you could be outcast for taking more than your neighbours. The people I visit in care homes often fondly remember keeping chickens because it comes with huge excitement. Someone's laid an egg. It's all pandemonium. The whole world must know. An egg has been laid. Oh no! An egg! An egg! It's an egg! Someone's laid an egg! Oh my goodness! Or maybe she's laying it. Sorry. It's on its way. So in England, while we kept chickens, over in the continent they were breeding giant rabbits. They're not a naturally occurring species. They were bred during the last World War as a meat rabbit because the people in the continent had no other source of food. Nowadays people don't eat rabbits. It's definitely not my choice of food, but a big rabbit like Blondie would have fed a lot of people, especially in a time when... Sorry buddy, I'm not going to eat her. I don't think she likes the idea much. At least she seems to have turned her back on me. And then there's sweet, sweet honey.
So behind me is an active natural beehive.
The bees that we keep are to pollinate the wild flower meadow. But bees have been kept commercially for thousands of years. And they produced honey, which was also shared out among the people of England. And if there's one animal I have to shout out for its efforts during the last World War, it is the racing pigeon. So another animal that was widely used during the last World War was our humble pigeon. Pigeons tend to naturally go back to their home and their mates that live in the pigeon loft. During both the First and the Second World War, messages were tied to the foot of the pigeon, and then when the bird was released, it would send news back home of what was going on. Pigeons saved thousands of lives during both World Wars, and some pigeons were so appreciated that they received medals of service for the work that they did. This is Darwin. Darwin is my hand-reared pigeon. Off she goes. Respect to our ancestors who worked so hard to keep us fed, to keep us safe, and the animals that comforted us and helped us with messages.
I'm watering where I put the carrots and spinach the other day, and I'll be honest with you, nothing's coming up. I had some advice from a few hardened gardeners, and apparently it takes 4 weeks for carrots to germinate. So at the moment, I'm just watering the ground.
And there are plenty of pots to be watering too. These are my sunflowers.
There's a little bit more growth in here. Hopefully you can tell. But the weeds are starting to come through. So I'm going to turn over the soil to kill the weeds and hopefully keep it nice and fresh for when my beans and other plants are ready to put out.
As you can see, the potatoes in the tyre have already started to grow. I started them a week before the ones in the trench, but the ones in the trench are also coming through as well. I was looking at the soil in my potato tyre and I think it's a little bit dry, so I'm going to add some fresh compost, which we managed to get, to the tyre so that the growing plants have more nutrients. And I'm definitely going to add some to this row of radishes, which look a little bit like they're just sitting on llama poo.
As I'm discovering, there's a lot of work involved in gardening. So a couple of weeks ago, I was growing my own radish and debating whether or not to eat it because it was so enormous.
I want to see how big it gets.
So thank you all very much for your support of my radish. I'm very proud of my radish. However, I have been informed that leaving it in the pot to see how big it's going to get isn't going to benefit me, because apparently they go kind of woolly and strange in the middle. So, without further ado, it's time to eat my radish. Oh, it's great! Thank you all very much for your pictures of bullfrogs. Once again, we had some brilliant pictures from you. I particularly like the downward expression of the bullfrog's mouth because they always look a little bit miserable. So brilliant work with that.
And Joe has picked out a favourite, and once again, it's a late incoming parrot picture. Thank you very much, Eloise. Sorry, everybody. He seems to be biased towards parrots. We're going to start by drawing the llama's ears. So we're going to have rabbit-like ears that come up to the top of his head, like so. Where's my llama? Can you come in, please? So the llama's face is long. So we give her a nice long nose that comes down like this. And we're going to add her nostrils like this, maybe a little smiley face. Happy llama. So, like all prey animals, her eyes are in the side of her head. We're going to draw her eye over here, in the side of her head. And we're going to give her her long neck. It comes down here and starts at where her woolly body is. So she has a woolly body coming down like this. A little tail. And she's got some long legs. So, we're going to go for wool, 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 before the legs start here. She's got knobbly knees, gets to draw into the knee and go down, give her her hooved feet. She's going to have her body continued on the inside like this. Then we go in for her back legs, down, foot number 2, like so. There we go. Do the back leg, and we'll do the front leg there. See if you can follow that at home. No, Arnold! Oh. I appear to be attached to the parrot. He's not letting me go. Can you let me go? Can you let me go? Can you let me go? You're a funny bird, aren't you? In my face. Ah, his claws need cutting really badly.